such a location, even if it's an undisclosed location.
And that's the problem with our technology tied in, and we're so dependent on it. And you're with somebody you trust in the first place, so they might have access to your stuff. That it could lead them right there. And I would think that if the spouse, male or female, shows up at your location, isn't that an automatic strike against them?
No. In the law enforcement community, not unless there's a protection order in place already.
But, I mean, they don't usually show up with helpful guidance and
They're
accolades.
usually very polite, though, while we're around. Most abusers want to look like nice guys to the public.
That was one of my questions. Are they good actors?
Oh, yeah. Most of them look very charismatic. They're very polite until they're alone with the person.
And are you able to spot that now without being totally cynical? Are you able to?
That's a very good question. Sometimes, not always. Sometimes.
But is it true that to someone such as yourself that they're not as charming or smart as they think they are?
Oh, well, right. Yes. Usually if an abuser shows up at our office, first of all, we know who they are usually. And we're not easily fooled by that. And we have security cameras at our locations. We have panic buttons at our locations. We have good relationship with law enforcement. So we're not letting somebody in the door unless we feel like it's safe. And we would never let an abuser in the door we would never let anyone come in the door to see a client without the client's permission, even if we thought it was safe, even if we thought it was their mother or somebody that was very safe for them to see.
So you've got multiple levels of stopgaps in there to protect the people.
Do. Yeah.
And when you, if somebody comes to you, it's as anonymous as it can be.
Yes.
And they've got to be willing to see it through. They've got to commit to it. That's part of the problem I see with these things is that the person pulls back,
sure.
It seems like they have to get to a point where they accept that there is a problem and they need to do drastic things to save the relationship. Children complicate it. Mental health problems complicate it. Substance abuse complicates it. And you say it's on the rise.
I don't know if it's on the rise or if people are just more public about it.
Yeah.
I think that thankfully, I think more people are speaking out about it. I think law enforcement has certainly changed from the times when they'd go out, settle things down, tell the guy to take a walk and cool off. Law enforcement certainly takes it much more seriously, and the laws on the books make it more, easier for law enforcement to take it seriously. So I don't know that it's increased. Certainly the technology has made the following people easier, but I don't know that the abuse has necessarily increased or if it's just that people are more aware now.
Because of the changes in behaviors that people display when they're with you, and they're being Eddie Haskell and you're Mrs. Cleaver, and less and less people get that reference. It's disturbing. But
I get it.
Yeah. Because of that, have you ever heard of something where a judge or something has ordered a camera in a house or something like that?
I have not. I don't know that that's legal. I haven't heard of a judge ordering that.
Because it would seem like that would be a possible fix for it to control the behavior, because I don't like cameras aimed at me, but they make people behave.
Yeah, that's an interesting approach. I know there are some communities that are piloting where there's a protection order that rather than the abused person and the kids have to move, the abuser has to move and they have to wear a tracking device, like a house arrest kind of device. So
do they do that in this area?
No. But there are some pilot sites up outside of Boston. There's a place that's piloting that. There are a few other municipalities throughout the county, throughout this country that do that.
That sounds like a way to go.
Sounds like a much better way than making everybody else leave. Yeah. Uproot everybody else's life. Like, no, wait. Yeah.
And it would. I just think if you had an option of a PFA or said, we're going to put a camera in the house.
It's an interesting idea.
Kitchen, common living areas, no bedroom, no bathroom, of course. Sure. And we're going to monitor you. And that way, I mean, I think you being able to see through people know what you would see. You would see a different person that came in that office, you know. And,
Sure.
But it would be interesting to see. That'd be a way to not tie up manpower and have it documented. And those things are so cheap now. It's
an interesting.
But I like that.
I think it's probably pretty hard to get through, but I think it's an interesting concept.
Well, if you got the person to sign off on it instead of a PFA.
Sure.
You know, so if you've got two people consenting to it, it doesn't have to go through the whole constitutional part. I will ask the judge.
Yeah,
about
that's interesting.
But funding, do you guys need anything there other than people to stop acting like fools?
We always need funding.
But like, do you need car seats? Do you need?
Oh yes, we always need. We have a wish list on our website, which, as you said earlier, is www.laurel-house.org. There's a wish list. We try to keep it updated. We always need new car seats. Unfortunately, we can't use used ones because of health issues, but health laws. New car seats. There are food supplies. We always need SEPTA tokens. Seasonal clothes.
They don't do tokens anymore. We're dating ourselves here.
Right, that's true. Yes, SEPTA. We also have a thrift shop in King of Prussia and a thrift shop in Lansdale, and those are great ways for people to contribute. All the proceeds go back to the direct service programs that we provide. And it's also a place where, so people, please, if you have things that you are looking for a place to take, we welcome them at our thrift shops. And it's also a place where people who would never call a hotline probably never call our office, but they'll go in to donate or shop, and they might pick up a safety tips information card and just tuck it in their purse or their pocket while they're there, maybe for themselves, maybe for a loved one. So it's another way we get the information out to the public in a way that doesn't feel so threatening to people that, oh my gosh, I'm never going to call a domestic violence hotline. But I could go in and talk to one of those nice volunteer ladies at the thrift shop. It's been a great resource for us.
And with awareness of this being on the rise, do you ever see cases of it where somebody is using that and they really don't have an issue?
Not very often. We have certainly heard...
somebody crying wolf, as it
Sure, we've certainly heard... sometimes certainly from attorneys that are representing the other party, that's what's happening. We really haven't seen that. For someone to go to the extreme of coming to us for help, whether it's shelter or counseling or hotline or, the DART team coming out to their house or the hospital, it would be very unlikely for them to go to that extreme unless they're pretty scared and pretty concerned about their own situation. So, and all the time I've been there, I'm sure that my advocates could think of one or two situations like that. I don't remember ever hearing of any. If
somebody comes to you for shelter, what's the longest you've ever put somebody up? What's a typical time frame? We were originally designed as a 30-day. It's now more like 90 just because it's difficult to help people find good places to go afterwards. We have, under some circumstances, had people for, several months. Maybe they have a senior. It's harder for us to help seniors move on to safe housing. Maybe it's a mom with a disability or who has a child with a disability. Or maybe we know they're on the waiting list for a supported housing program and they've got like 3 more weeks to wait. So we just have them stay with us. So the longest probably has been 5 or 6 months. Is this a problem that has a demographic age-wise that it's more in than other? Because you said
yes, it's more common in late teens up to probably 35, 40.
The arrogant years.
But certainly we have had, senior women and quite elderly. We actually had a senior man that we were asked to provide some counseling support to. What we're seeing with seniors sometimes is their adult children. In the state of Pennsylvania, domestic violence can be any adult family member or person with an adult type of relationship with each other. So an adult child abusing an elderly parent or grandparent can be termed domestic violence.
That's interesting because the whole time I've been thinking significant other.
Right.
I didn't even think of that.
That's normally what we serve, are significant others, and that's normally what people think of. But, more and more we have adult kids who are maybe taking advantage of, including physically being intimidating with adult parents or adult grandparents. So, but we have had senior men and senior women who have been abused by their long-standing spouses. So it's a real range.
And what do you think that when you stop doing this, what do you think your legacy will be?
Well, I know it won't be ending domestic violence, though. So it's a good thought. Good thought many, many years ago. Hopefully part of the legacy will be, I've been very fortunate over the years I've worked in human services to supervise and mentor a lot of young people fresh out of school. And a lot of them now have like grown children, and I don't really see how that's possible, because when I hired them, they were, 22 and single, and now they've got grown children graduating from college. I'm like, wait, I don't really know how that happened. But hopefully part of the legacy will be that there are people that I've had the privilege of working with who have, learned something and who have some passion for continuing this work.
So as an educator and spreading it out, that would be, and that's what most people that I interview, their legacy is passing it on to others. And I hear what you're saying about the grown children thing, because I do this completely self-serving math in my head and go, well, wait, you can't be 40 because you're younger than I am, and am I 40?
Right, exactly.
That would mean that I don't want to say the number.
Right.
And yeah, that happens a lot. That happens a lot.
Yeah.
I had a guy who was with us when he was young. He was with like a cadet program, and he came back as an adult.
Wow. And
I was like, I remember you. And he said, last time I saw you, said, you stuffed me in a bag. Like, I did. Was there a reason for that? He said, it was a training exercise. I said, did I put air holes in the bag? He said, you did. I said, see? So don't look at me like I'm a bad guy, but he's an adult now.
That's great, right.
And it's like, how can you be an adult unless I'm not going to go there. I'm just going to walk away from this conversation.
Yep. Yeah, that's, it never ceases to amaze me when I get the birth announcements. And when they start inviting me to their grandbaby's birth, then I'll be really nervous. But I feel like, my generation of people who work in human services are leaving things in good hands. We get great young interns coming out of, we live in a great area as far as colleges. We get terrific interns from a lot of different colleges and universities and high schools, even in,
well, don't you have to be a different kind of person to go into human services? It's always been that
honestly, when we get the interns, I say, sure, you don't want to work in finance.
Yeah.
Are you sure you want to spend the rest of your life driving a compact car and paying off student loans? Because that's kind of what you're looking at.
Right. Do you really like ramen noodles that much?
Right.
Is this allowed in your future?
Really, you don't mind being on call 24/7. Okay, great.
Right.
But they love it, and they're passionate about it. They're smart. They're committed. They work really hard. I tease our emergency responders, because when we first started that program, the volunteers, because we have 14 volunteers in that program, they used to complain like, it was my on-call weekend, I didn't get any calls. Now they're like, oh my gosh, I got 6 calls this weekend. It's a big county. I can't be everywhere at once. What are we going to do? So it's come a long way, but they love being called upon to help, and they love being involved and being able to, and they can see a difference. I've done this work long enough that people who were with us in shelter or counseling 10 years ago come back and say thank you. And that's
the best feeling.
And they bring their kids, like, wait a minute, wait, where did those grown children come from?
That's the best
It's
feeling.
A great feeling.
That it's carried on. And when
Absolutely.
when you have in your business and many things, what we do too, when it's boring, that means the world's going good. And we do our annual thing, and I just did it for the membership, and I go over our numbers, and our numbers are down for missing persons. And I said to the older members on the team, you're welcome. To the younger members, I apologize. And that's what being in charge is.
That's pretty much it.
That's what being in charge is.
That's pretty much it.
It's a mix, but it's good, because I know the person I dealt with did feel that you guys offered some guidance to them. I think that they were a deer in the headlights, and I think that you guys helped with that. And I'm sure your person probably let them know about the counseling, and they could go talk to somebody. They said somebody was going to get back to them about it.